I'm William Tapscott. I'm with the Taylorsville Crimewatch. Today I'm here with Mayor Jim Lienhoop of Columbus, Indiana. Jim is here to discuss the Riverfront project.
Hi, William. Thanks for coming back, and thanks for asking about the Riverfront. We've been working on the Riverfront project for a while, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the reasons we're doing it and what we hope to accomplish. Now, first off, sometimes we'll refer to this as the land between the bridges. So this is the 3rd Street Bridge and the Stewart Bridge. And what I'd like for you to do sometime, if you're out in your car, you drive across the 3rd Street Bridge, get in the left-hand lane, and look to your left. Make sure you don't hit the car in front of you, but look to your left. And what I want you to look for is the water that sort of hits the bank on either the south or west side, of the White River there. And what you'll see is a scour that's getting started down there, and it's all related to erosion that threatens to do one thing that we really don't want to have happen, and that is that it threatens to uncover a landfill that's just a little bit further downstream. For reasons that nobody today really can explain to us, back after World War II, that was the city landfill. That area right in through there goes underneath the Stewart Bridge. In fact, the presence of that landfill is one of the reasons that the Stewart Bridge has its supports in the river, because the Department of Natural Resources wouldn't let the city or the county or the state dig in that area through where the landfill is. The landfill's been capped, and it's been delisted from the Superfund sites, but it's still there, and we need to make sure that the cap stays on top of it. So the presence of that erosion, is a little bit troubling to us. At the same time, on the other bank, underneath the pump house or along that area, if you look closely enough and you know where to look, there's an exposed sewer pipe out there. This is an active sewer pipe that transmits sewage, from certain parts of the city down towards the wastewater treatment plant that's on downstream. And my point to folks is that when that sewer pipe was laid, it was not exposed. It was covered up with dirt. And so what's happened over the years is that the river has done this. It's meandered. And that's what rivers do in this part of the country, because they're not lined with rocks. They'll meander, they'll go back and forth, and they've begun to erode on both sides of the river. At the same time, if you take a good look at the dam, you'll notice a few things that are just kind of troubling. One is that dam's cockeyed to the river. It's not square across the river, and it's broken. The cap, or the top, is not level. And so that combination of being cockeyed to the river, to the water flow, being a little bit uneven at the top, has exacerbated that scour part, made it a lot worse than what it would be otherwise. And so what we've come up with here is a plan to try to take the dam out and to strengthen the sides on either side of the river, just in between these two bridges, 700, 750 feet, something like that. We think that we need to be able to do this, to provide some control on the erosion and prevent uncovering of the landfill that exists on the south or west side. At the same time, these dams, they're called low-head dams. And part of what happens is they're just not safe. If somebody were to go over the dam, they run the risk of being held down, particularly if the water is at a decent volume. They run the risk of being held down underwater longer than you could withstand. I mean, my thought, I guess, at one point was if you went over the dam, it's not a big problem. You just bob up on the other side and float on down to a shallow spot. But that's not always what's going to happen. And so to help protect people who might get into the water, and people are already getting in the water today anyway, we'd like to be able to remove that dam. At the same time that we're doing that, there's a couple other things that we would like to add. One is a people trail extension. We've got some really popular trails that people like to get on, bike, walk, run. We've got a number of them that are south of 2nd Street and a bunch that are north of 3rd Street. But what we're lacking is the connection. We'd like to be able to do it underneath the roadway or at a plane that's different than what they call on grade with 2nd and 3rd. We'd like to do it underneath so that people and bicycles cannot connect with semis, dump trucks, and vehicular traffic. At the same time, we'd like to be able to keep the water level about where it is now, because if you think upstream a little bit, we've got pretty serious amount of water that is backed up to help us form Millrace Park. And so if we just take the dam out, if that's all we do, we don't put something back in the water to restore, back in the river to restore the water level, we're going to change the look of Millrace Park pretty significantly. And it'll become difficult, I think, for us to maintain water level in the pond and so on and so forth. So it's a multifaceted project. And where we are right now is we've had a couple of meetings with the Department of Natural Resources, a few of the leaders up there. They're contemplating the permit that we're going to need to be able to do the construction work that we have in mind. I'm hopeful that before the end of the year we can get that permit in place and begin construction. But the real reasons behind pursuing this, and it is an extensive project, but the real reasons behind that are try to control the erosion and eliminate the safety hazard that exists with that dam. So William, thank you very much for stopping by today, and we look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you for your time and for the interview.